Hey, what's up, guys? So there's been a lot of comments requesting that I do a commentary, and I actually think that rather than just posting the gameplay, having commentary associated with it is a lot more valuable, right? Because I can tell you in post production, I'm not doing the key right now, what I'm thinking, how I'm going to approach some packs, and just general devastation tips and other things like that, right? So it'll be real chill. I'm just gonna talk through it. I am a little sick right now, so the voice is a little messed up, and I might cough a little bit. But likely you're not really paying attention to that stuff. You're more so caring about the gameplay and the tips. So yeah. Just kind of to get into it, this is a 26 Everbloom. This group was pretty good. I like these guys a lot. I ended up in this key about 400k damage overall. I think it was like 397. So definitely a good key that showcases the power of Devastation, right? Like Devastation's an uncapped AoE class. So, in a key like Everbloom, Devastation just goes extremely hard. We also have excellent target swapping for the second boss. We have a great damage profile for the first boss as well. Dragon Raging at the 100% damage bonuses. I also think that for the third boss, we have a ton of survivability tools, like with Zephyr, reducing the fire damage AoE. Um, and the fourth boss, I always blast on. I don't really know why, but yeah, I mean, fourth boss is pretty good for dev as well. So overall, Everbloom just, is a pretty pog devastation key. So this particular week, it was Raging Afflicted. So kind of an ass affix week, but as an evoker, you can deal with raging very well. You have the mass purge, and you can also deal with afflicted super well. If the healer has a really, if there's like a really large healing need at the time, then you can naturalize one and you can cauterize and flame the other. So you can effectively handle that affix. You actually can handle both of these affixes all on your own. So yeah, before a key starts, you always want to tip the scales. Tip the scales goes into the key and it doesn't reset its cooldown. That's just kind of the generic tip. So, what you're really going to do before a pack is you're going to, always already have your tip the scales ready. Fire Breath, Dragon Rage, tip the scales, Eternity Surge. So you get two of them there. Really, really powerful burst. But let me just let this play a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Think I show my talent, so we can kind of go over those a little bit. Cool. All right, so I got a little markup tool. Let me see. Okay. Okay, cool, it's working. So I'm kind of going to go over the class trees and the class tree, and then the spec tree is pretty much always the same for dungeons. You're not going to, go away from this at all. You're not going to deviate at all. This is the spec tree right now. It kind of blows that, these talents right here, Firestorm, Feed the Flames, blah, 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 just aren't used in AoE scenarios like Mythic Plus is. But that's just how it is. The blue side is just way too good, right? Scintillation, not Charged Blast, Shattering Star, that's what it used to be called, is just way too powerful. And obviously, the one and only talent, Volatility, the most amazing talent in the Devastation tree for AoE, is right here. And this talent, Volatility, so basically what this does is it makes your pyres bounce. It sounds powerful, right? But the talent description doesn't necessarily captivate why it's so powerful. So whenever the pyres bounce, it ticks for causality. So every time pyre does damage, disintegrate and pyre, but for pyre, depending on the target count, it can be like from like 0.2 seconds or something like that to 2 seconds maximum. And every time volatility, the pyres bounce from it, each time it bounces, it can tick down causality. So, in theory, one pyre can reduce your empowereds all the way back down to 0. Now, that's never going to happen. But, pyre has like an individual pyre more than likely has a chance to reduce your one empowered by up to 4 seconds, right? It's going to bounce, assuming it bounces once. Technically, a pyre that bounces can keep bouncing and keep reducing. So one pyre can bounce like 10 times, theoretically, it will never happen really, and reduce it. So that's really what makes this so powerful. Um, Other than that, I mean, this is just super standard. You're not going to deviate. The only difference from last year is we take Event Horizon now. I didn't play a lot last year, honestly, but Eye of Infinity was Pog, but Event Horizon works better with how the tier set is working because we really care about extensions, and this talent right here makes extending a lot easier with Eternity Surge having reduced cooldown. Okay, so that's really it for the spec tree. And as far as the class tree goes, so what sucks for Devastation is how restricted you are compared to Augmentation. You're already a troll spec, okay? So, you know, Dev is great, don't get me wrong, but Aug is better in Mythic Plus. That's just something unequivocal. You can't really argue against it, um, for a lot of reasons, and one of them is their talent budget. So as Devastation, we have to take this talent that Augmentation does not. This is Enkindled and increases our Living Flame damage. This is good shit. We do a lot of Living Flame damage as part of our kit. Scarlet Adaptation with Leaping Flames just goes insanely hard. It hits way harder than you probably even know. um, so, yeah, definitely always want this talent. This talent, Regenerative Magic, I believe it's called, just got buffed and is insanely good for Devastation. This talent, 1 point, gives us 5% leech. Um, I don't really need to explain why that's so insane in Mythic Plus, but you know, every pyre is just healing you a fuck ton, man. Like, oh, this talent is so good. Before you could opt out of it in like single target situations and raid and things like that, in favor of maybe like this guy right here. I think it's called like Unhoarded Power or something. But no, never talent out of this. This is awesome. We also have to talent into Protracted Talons, which Augmentation does not. So we do Azure Strike, unlike Augmentation that just spams Living Flame. So, you know, we definitely need the talent that makes it cleave an extra target. Sorry. So these talents right here, I'm gonna put some check marks on them. So Source of Magic and Potent Magic. So unless you're playing with an Aug, you should make the Aug take this. If not, you should take this because this is just free mana and more importantly, 3% healing and damage to your healer. And the damage is the really big part for Mythic Plus. So you're always gonna take these instead. And basically that leaves us with 2 points for whatever the affix is this week. So this week is Raging Bolstering, or sorry, Raging Fort. No. Yeah. Fort, Raging, Afflicted. So we're always going to take a Pressing Roar during those weeks with Overall because we need to dispel the Ragings, right? Raging Fort is dangerous. Raging Tyrannical is not dangerous at all. Who gives a fuck if a tyrannical mob rages? No one cares. But Raging Fort is very dangerous, so we definitely take these 2 talent points this week. So that's 2 more points we lose out on for a good reason, though. You know, it's not bad. But let's say it wasn't this week, right? Like, let's say you had those 2 extra points. What would you do with them? So you can do a bunch of things depending on what you're scared of that key. If you're scared of surviving a mechanic, or you're scared of, like, you know, the healer being able to heal through a tyrannical damage check, you could go Rescue with Twin Guardians. This gives you and whoever you rescue a huge shield, like I think it's like 600k or something altogether, so insanely powerful. You could also go Time Spiral or Terror of the Skies. Those are both great options. This stuns with Deep Breath. This just gives a movement button on 2 minutes. This is not very useful in Mythic Plus, unless there's a boss for it. You could also go Ancient Flame, which basically makes your Living Flame cast really fast after you cast Rescue, or not Rescue. That's what this used to be called. Verdant Embrace or Emerald Blossom. This is a really good talent outside of that. And you could also dump them in here, the Essence button. This just gives you 10% more Essence, I think, with 2 talent point investment. Overall, kind of dog shit. Not that good for Dev. We're just over flooded with Essence Bursts with our new tier set and just in general in AoE because of Protracted Talons, Azure Strike, etc. So, you know, we don't really need more Essence per se. We don't really have enough haste to keep up with spending our essence quick enough with Pyre, I guess, at times. You can take away Zephyr if there's not really a situation in the dungeon where you need more avoidance. Zephyr only gives you 20% avoidance, so it's really really good. It's better than Aura Mastery whenever the damage you're getting from it is just AoE damage. But if it's not, there's not a case where AoE damage is lethal in a dungeon, which isn't very rare, then you could omit this. In Everbloom, for instance, though, you definitely want Zephyr for the third area with the mages. The fire mages do incredible AoE damage, and Zephyr reduces it by 20%. So definitely something to consider. On I think it's called Incorporeal. You need Sleepwalk as an evoker, so you take that on. Incorporeal weeks. Other than that, I don't think your talents change that much. Oh, Unravel. Unravel is a really awesome one. So you're going to use this on the Dawn of the Infinite dungeons for sure, especially your Raidacron. Devastation's Unravel hits for like almost a million. And actually can technically use an Iridescence Blue proc, but it doesn't consume it. It's very weird. Like if you cast Unravel while Iridescence Blue is up, I believe it empowers it by 20%, but doesn't consume the proc. So yeah, Unravel is just super strong in those dungeons. Like, you're already really powerful because of Giant Slayer on Iridacron. But Unravel just makes you that much stronger because you're able to just keep unraveling during the shield phase. So always note which dungeons you want to take this on in raid encounters as well. I'm not even like, I know I've only uploaded Mythic Plus content, but I'm really more of a raider than a Mythic Pluser. So, yeah, I have better tips for raid than I do Mythic Plus. But I know my way around devs. So, but yeah, I mean, these are the talent points. Don't deviate from them too much unless your situation calls for it. Yeah, just let it go though. So this first pull is extremely dangerous and something that you need to execute properly as a Devastation Evoker. So Devastation has uncapped AoE. So on these huge ass big lust pulls, and also their AoE scales linearly with haste, which Bloodlust gives you a ton of haste. So therefore your AoE is extremely powerful during Bloodlust, which as a dev you're not playing Auk, so you need to play pretty well. We need to execute this first pull properly. So to kind of set up for this, just going into it, I'm going to, as he gathers, I'm gonna pick the mob that I think he has the most threat on, which I think is like the Cultivator or Berserker here, and I'm gonna Nimwaze it just to start my ramp, and then once they're all together, I think the mage actually lost, but I'm gonna pop off then. So yeah, Nimwaze right now. He lusted. Okay, so let's see if I actually do it here. So some of you watching might look at this and be like, why did he Fire Breath before he Dragon Raged? So there's something really important to learn here about your burst AoE and doing as much AoE damage as you can as Devastation. Dragon Rage, when you click it, shoots out 3 pyres. And most of the time, and most Devastation players I've talked to don't even care about the 3 pyres that come out. They're like, oh, that's cool, it does a little extra damage or whatever. But those 3 pyres that come out are so strong and important, okay? First of all, they are considered a singular spell cast, and you have to also keep in mind that this is the power of 6 essence basically spent with 1 GCD. Okay? So this is this is 3 pyres that go out in a singular GCD. So what that means is that actually Iridescence Red and other abilities that consume Pyre, like Charged Blast, can be consumed by Dragon Rage. Pressing Dragon Rage is just like clicking Pyre, essentially. And whatever buff is consumed or amplified onto those Pyres in Dragon Rage actually applies to all 3 of the Pyres that are shot out whenever you click Dragon Rage. So what makes this burst really strong is that I already started with the tip the scale, so I already do a rank 4 or rank 3 fire breath. And then I'm gonna hit Dragon Rage in my next GCD. And all three of those pyres are going to consume one stack of Iridescence Red. So I'm basically lobbing out three pyres in Dragon Rage with Lust on, with my potion on, that are at 20% amplified damage. So I'm sending out three pyres with 20% more damage. That is an insane amount of damage and something you should definitely not miss out on. Because whenever you have a group this big, maintaining your Dragon Rage is so easy. You don't need the Fire Breath within your Dragon Rage at the beginning to keep the extension going. It doesn't matter. Like, you can just keep extending in AoE. It doesn't matter. Um, whether you have this first fire breath or not. You get way more damage this way, and we're gonna make it through this pack that way. So I'll just kind of let the pull play out itself. So I do get PI here, which is awesome, and just watch my damage. Like I'm gonna gap these guys basically. This is uncapped for me, and I'm with the Demon Hunter. Like, and all these classes are uncapped right now, so it is completely fair competition. But as you see, I just completely,
Afflicted.
I don't completely outpace them, but I outpace them by quite a bit here, right? Like, these classes are also uncapped. They should hypothetically be able to keep up with me. But because of, intelligent play, blah, 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 we're able to scathe out a lot more damage. So to kind of go more into this poll, so in AoE, I always cast Fire Breath at the max rank I can, unless I'm about to get an extension. Like, if charging it up to rank 3 would lose Dragon Rage, then I send it at whatever rank I need. Excuse me. I need to keep the extension going. And this is a tracker right here for how many targets are in combat right now. And this is a really important button to know how to use Eternity Search. Let me actually pause it and go find the chart real quick. All right, here we go. I was able to find it real quick. So this Wowhead is awesome, by the way. It's made by Preheat, and I basically live by whatever Preheat says. So if you follow what Preheat's doing, I'm likely following it as well, with maybe a little bit of deviation on my side. But outside of Dragon Rage, like if there's a target pound of 7 plus, he says to send it at 3. In Dragon Rage, though, at 7, he says to also send it at 3. So, but at 10 plus in Dragon Rage, you want to send it at rank 1, because lobbing out pyres that are all, benefiting from 100% mastery because of Dragon Rage, and, with Essence Spenders as well, Essence Burst and Titanic Wrath increase the damage even further. So, you just want to send it at rank 1 here. To be honest, I usually send it at rank 1 if the poll is even like around 7, unless I can get like the perfect number. Eternity Search can hit them all, like 4, 8, or 2. Then I'll usually just send it at rank 1 because I don't know, because I'm lazy, or I think that charging it up takes too long. I don't know. You should probably follow whatever this guide says, but overall, as long as you understand that in a big poll you just do rank 1 Eternity Surge and max rank Fire Breath always in AoE, then you're pretty much chilling. And you can also do rank 1 Fire Breath if the poll is really big or you don't want to rip too much threat. So I noticed that a lot of the mobs were low here, so I just decided to deep breath. It was a safe time to deep breath since I had so much time on my Dragon Rage and I had an Empowered available. I should have actually Eternity Surged, then deep breathed. But I think I wanted to, hit all these guys with deep breath and get some numbers on the meter. Yeah, I just kind of ignore Eternity Surge here because right now, like with this target count, well, it was just 10. Eternity Surge is just a vehicle to extend Dragon Rage longer. The damage is kind of negligible at this target count, so I'm just kind of ignoring it, and that's pretty much fine for you to do overall. Like I'm not keen on extending this Dragon Rage into the next pack. I'm just gonna use the Emerald Trance proc, the 4 set, to kind of carry me through the next pack. So just doing as much damage as I can at the moment with what I have available in
Afflicted.
Bellarellos right now. A tip on Bellarellos is if you have Bellarellos, try to use it at low health, right? Because you're not benefiting from Giant Slayer at that time, and Bellarellos is agnostic of Giant Slayer, so that's a good tip on that. Right here, I was in Dragon Rage, so that doesn't apply, but Yeah. So right now I'm sitting on Shattering Star way too long. I should have Shattering Starred, and then Fire Breath there. And Extinction Bolt, always good to keep off cooldown. Right here, that was a big mess up. So, you could honestly argue that's because I didn't cast it earlier. But if I just didn't mess up and hover in the air and waste so much time there, I could have sniped an extension there. So, but like I said, not the end of the world. It's that's we're talking about perfect play right now. How we executed that first pull and just getting through that first pull was the most important thing to do at that time. And I guess also it wasn't that um, dangerous either because I don't think I clicked. Did I click Obsidian Skills at all? No, we were completely fine. Typically, when a big pull like this happens, I'll just throw up an Obsidian Scales just in case.
3, 2, 1. AOE.
So right now I Zephyr'd for the Eruption. Really good use right there. And it's important to watch how I'm disintegrating and stuff here. I think I swapped a Pyre. The way, I haven't checked the Sims yet since they buffed Pyre, but the way I do it is at 3 targets, I Pyre, especially with Iridescence Red. And if I have Iridescence Blue or an Essence Burst, I disintegrate at 3 targets because you're technically getting more value from the Essence Burst disintegrate because you're just gaining 1 Essence overall. And that's also how it's tuned. And also Iridescence Blue disintegrate pulls ahead of just a Pyre, I believe, a regular Pyre in 3 targets.
Afflicted.
And also, having more focus damage like
Afflicted.
cleave or whatever, or not cleave, but what's it called? Funnel. More funnel damage is always a good thing, and Dev is exceptional at funnel if they need to be. So right here, he pulls more into this pack. Just gonna get a Fire Breath on him, start pyring. As Evoker, you can tail swipe or wing buffet them back and cancel their blade thingy, their whirlwind.
3, 2, 1.
Afflicted.
AOE.
Afflicted.
Ooh, very dangerous. So I health potted there. I should have actually just Emerald Blossomed, or yeah, Emerald Blossom with Panacea would have got me all the way up, or Verdant Embraced myself there. So that was kind of a misplay. You're always incentivized as a Devastation Evoker to heal yourself or heal your allies because of Scarlet Adaptation. 9 times out of 10, it's going to increase your damage overall. Like if you look at the APL, it actually has the Dev Evoker using Emerald Blossom and Verdant Embrace frequently to increase their Living Flame damage.
3, 2, 1. AOE.
Afflicted.
Oops, I was on mute. So going into this pull, I know that this is going to be a Dragon Rage pull. So what's dangerous here for me is Dev. It's really just going to be the Naturalist and making sure that, it's staying kicked and all that. Because as an Evoker, this pull really isn't too dangerous for you. You can call it off this right here. You can Naturalize it as well. It's just not that dangerous of a pull. You're pretty tanky nowadays. So, just focusing on doing as much damage as I can. Bellarello's here, just get it off cooldown. Save time because I'm not going to lose Dragon Rage for it. Did a huge Dispel right there. Really good use of Repressing Roar with overall. And I was able to clip an extension as well with a rank 1. So I'll replay that. That's a time where I want to do a rank 4 Fire Breath, or rank 3, but I'm doing rank 1 so I can clip the extension. So there I had Iridescence Blue. I probably should have disintegrated into the Naturalist rather than shot a few Pyres out, honestly.
Afflicted.
But still, overall, I mean,
Afflicted.
we did good damage this pull. Pull was executed well, so no worries really. So this is just kind of a filler pack right here. Like I basically just, oh, okay, so that's kind of an important piece right here. So as I'm going into this pull, your first instinct would probably be to just keep to fire breath right away. But I actually had 4 seconds of Emerald Trance remaining, so I was like, oh fuck, I don't want to waste all that time channeling a fire breath, even if it is the best play on the APR or whatever. I want to lob as many pyres as I can because I'm full on essence. I'm overflowing with it actually. I want to get out a whole bunch of 25%
Afflicted.
increased pyres, and
Afflicted.
that ended up being a lot more damage than launching a rank 4 or rank 3 fire breath right there, wasting all the time, you know, empowering that ability. So yeah, another standard pull right here. I mean, not much to say. We're just gonna be AoEing them down, pyre, 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 pyre. I should probably do a rank 3 Eternity Surge here. Yep, do. It's good use. Especially outside of Dragon Rage. I also keep letting him play.
Afflicted.
Especially outside of Dragon Rage, empowering Eternity Surge to the max thing to hit all the targets or whatever is good because you don't need to send it at rank 1 because you're not overflowing with essence per se. You're completely fine. Oh, that sucks. So I start out with tip the scales there. While they're gathering, I'm just disintegrating, doing some funnel damage. And once they're all grouped up, I switch to Pyre. Because overall in AoE, like unless a target needs to die, I want to Pyre. 1, because it does more damage, but 2, because I'm extending my Dragon Reach way longer that way. I'm getting more cooldown on my Empowereds, and it's just kind of feeding into itself. So you can't really think about the damage that comes just from the Essence Spender itself. You have to think about the future for Dev, right? You have to think about, oh, how is this affecting my Dragon Rage uptime? How is this affecting with causality and other things like that?
Afflicted. Afflicted.
So here I should dispel one. Yep. Waited for my disintegrate to channel all the way because I had time. So that was an important note right there as well. So what I've been doing typically is like I find deep breath kind of hard to fit into my rotation at times, just because I honestly feel like it should do way more damage or be 1 minute baseline for Dev. Um, but regardless, you know, uh, what's this button called? Emerald Trance. So Emerald Trance is whitelisted for just Devastation abilities, which also includes deep breath. So, how I try to use deep breath is at the end of the trance, like right before it ends, I try to launch a deep breath just so I can get it fully empowered. And deep breath is technically a dot, so I don't know if every tick is empowered by 25%. I need to check with the Discord on that. But if it works like Shattering Star,
Afflicted.
then it empowers the
Afflicted.
ability at the cast. That's how Shattering Star works, by the way. So that's what I'm currently operating under. If it doesn't, then I would cast Deep Breath at like 5 seconds left or something like that. So this is kind of a lame pull. So this is really fun. Okay. So this is where he pulls all the ads. So I'm just setting up for the pull, doing Nimways, and I pulled aggro, but dude, as a Devastation Evoker, as a Devastation Evoker, just don't be scared of aggro. Obviously, don't troll with it, but you just have to play the class with the understanding that you're going to rip threat sometimes. You have tools to get mobs away from you. You can hover away from them while casting. You can wing buffet them back. You can landslide to root them. You have a lot of tools to get them away. So don't be scared if you pull threat occasionally. It's just how the class kind of plays, especially if you played it in Season 1. But yeah, again, I'm going to tip the scales, Fire Breath them all here, Dragon Rage, and then I'll probably Eternity Surge, Shattering Star, and then Pyre, 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 Pyre. That'll probably be the play here. Oh, okay. That was probably smarter, actually.
Afflicted.
Because since we have more setup time, channeling the Fire Breath is of no issue, and getting more use from my Eternity Surge results in more damage overall. So you see, just from that burst right there, I did 4 mil, right? So, I mean, pretty crazy damage. Or not 4 mil. Well, yeah, 4 mil. So I'm doing 1.4 million a second. So in 4 seconds, I did that much. And that included the time that I was channeling my Nimways. So I really did like, three, 3 to 3.5 million in one
Afflicted.
second. So here the priority is to get the dread petals down. So I'm just going to AoE and, target the Rith Bark is the main target. This was kind of troll. So on bosses where you have damage amps like Smolderon or Rithbark, Bellarellos goes really hard during their damage amp phases because it also scales up the damage that those items do. So I maybe should have held it there, but it's not that big of a misplay regardless. So right now, because I Dragon
Afflicted.
Raged that pull, and
Afflicted.
overall that was a big dub because I was able to get a lot of damage out, get those ads down quickly, and therefore this boss much safer. My first damage phase here is going to be fairly weak, right? Because I don't have Dragon Rage. Luckily, he's at high health. I'm in my Emerald Trance, so I'm still going to do a considerable amount of damage, but definitely not as much as I could. Overall, this is good. You want to, you're always going
Afflicted.
to have two damage amp phases on this boss. And if you can engineer it or plan it such that you're in Dragon Rage for the second damage buff, then that's always going to be better because this first one, he's already at high health, right? Your Mastery Giant Slayer is already giving you pretty high benefit. So, having Dragon Rage for the second half is just going to result in more damage overall. But this whole time, so I never pad
Afflicted.
on this boss. Like I could be pyring right now and doing more damage to the growths, but I just don't care. Like what's more important? I Devastation already has excellent two target cleave, so I'm just letting disintegrate and scintillation do all the work that I need right now, and along with my empowered abilities. So no worries there. Now I'm just gonna hold a Nimways and Dragon Rage for when he his next damage amp phase. I think that Nimways gets empowered by him being rooted.
Afflicted.
So that's pretty strong.
Fixate.
Okay, so yeah, now that we're in this phase, I'm gonna talk through it a little bit. So now I'm gonna Nimways, then I'm gonna go to instantly Dragon Rage, Burnout. Oh, sorry, my empowereds. And I'm just gonna start ripping. I'm gonna clip
Afflicted.
really hard because since I just freshly entered Dragon Rage, I can do that, right? I don't need to full channel my essence spenders overall. I just am really interested in staying in Dragon Rage as long as I can, which is what clipping does. So you get extra ticks, extra damage, and therefore extra causality procs as well, or ticks.
Afflicted. Afflicted.
Okay, so I showed this real quick. I don't really think there's anything of note to look at in here. Um, I did have one Nimue cast and did 1.59 million, so maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Disintegrate doing a majority of my work. This poll was conglomerated with this big poll over here. So the stats from it are, they don't really tell a great photo because Pyre's doing so much here, and that's, it's not going to do that on AoE. So this is a very dangerous pull for a range caster. For berserkers is super messy, and that's something I would recommend for any tanks to
2,
plan in their routes at
1.
all.
AoE.
Especially because we're going into it with no CDs from the Demon Hunter army. The Arcane Mage will have CDs, but I don't really think he's gonna. I mean, maybe he'll pop off here, but he's certainly not gonna carry the pack. So it's a little bit dangerous. We're relying on Lust to get
Afflicted.
us through this one,
Afflicted.
and basically all the range are just gonna get farmed by these guys berserking constantly. Um, so yeah, I mean, just gonna go through the motions. Gonna channel up, hit Pyre when I can. Essence, or sorry, Fire Breath at max rank. Eternity Surge, since I'm outside of Dragon Range, probably at max rank. But you could also do rank 1 as well, just to get more pyres out.
AoE.
But overall, I would probably do Eternity Surge at
Afflicted.
max rank, since
Afflicted.
I think I die here, so I'm like scared of dying, so I hold my cooldowns. Yeah. But outside of Dragon Rage, you could totally do Eternity Surge at max rank, and I think that fills in your time a little bit more because you're more essence starved, and you can't just lob pyres constantly. But yeah, I mean, we had 2 deaths this pull. Overall, kind of a dumb pull from the tank, but we ended up making it through. I
Afflicted.
popped my cooldowns here just to get us
Afflicted.
through.
3,
I don't really care about,
1.
maximum,
AoE.
best cooldown usage per se. We're already ahead of the time right now. We have a lot of time to spare. So just letting things rip and trying to get through things as best we can. And I think that I can carry it into the next pull here. Oh no, he goes straight and it bricks it. So but the cool part is with this tier set,
3.
even if we kind of have like a bad Dragon Rage per se, we still benefit from the Emerald Trance afterwards, so it feels good still. Not the best, still feels pretty good though. So yeah, here, I mean, this is also a dangerous pull because of the Abomination along with the Berserker. But pretty much just going to channel Eternity Surge up to max rank anytime I can. I want to, after I Shattering Star, I want to do as many pyres as I can. So just kind of hoping that I get
3.
Essence
Afflicted.
Burst resets there.
Afflicted.
Um,
AoE.
but yeah, overall, just kind of doing my maintenance damage right now. It's still, pretty good, obviously, about 500k on a pack like this. So, yeah. Just gonna disintegrate. I should have actually let that one tick longer because it was a iridescence blue disintegrate. So like if you clip an iridescence blue disintegrate, they don't both stay iridescence blue empowered, right? The one that you cast afterwards is not empowered by 20%. So what I should have done here is the one I'm channeling right now is empowered by iridescence blue. I should just let this tick all the way down and then just start a new disintegrate from there. But I chained it like an idiot. So I missed out on one tick that's 20% empowered.
3, 2, 1. AoE.
Should Renewing Blaze here. Yep.
Afflicted.
So a note on Renewing Blaze, I haven't really talked about. I'll just let this play actually.
Afflicted.
So Renewing Blaze is so powerful, right? Because this is right here. I have a Scarlet Adaptation tracker. I clicked Renewing Blaze before that went off. Just watch this. Watch my Scarlet Adaptation tick all the way up
Afflicted.
right now.
Afflicted.
67, 100%. And if I were to, if I was paying attention to this and wasn't kind of so focused on the key, I would instantly start lobbing Living Flames because you have to think it spreads the damage out over 6 seconds, right? So and I got full in 2 ticks. So I really have like 2 to 3 more ticks here of Renewing Blaze, maybe like, probably like 2 ticks left that could empower my next 2 Living Flames. So I should have just become a machine gun and started just Living Flame, because I'm already, I'm still regenerating essence. The big thing is not to do that when you're still regenerating essence. So I'm regenerating essence right now. This is a perfect time for me to just start lobbing Living Flames because, Renewing Blaze is taking up the Scarlet Adaptation proc on it. And that does an incredible amount of damage. Damage that you wouldn't think. So right now I'm focusing the Berserker. So typically as dev, you're incentivized to tab target between targets. Like it just always be on the max health guy because of your mastery. But whenever there's a priority target, it's completely fine to still focus one target down because you have a mastery 4 now.
Afflicted.
So
Afflicted.
yeah.
3, 2.
Obviously just going to save my CDs here for the boss. I don't know what happened, but I guess I died. So, oh, I remember what happened, yeah. The Berserker rushed at us both and we got killed because he was raging. That sucks. Okay, so going into this boss, there's a few notes, I guess, that I've picked up on. So as a DPS evoker, you have a 20-second kick. What that means is that you can actually solo kick Revitalize. I don't do it this fight because we kill Teju, or how do you say his name? Telu, I think. We kill Telu before we need to kick Revitalize twice, so then everyone just assumes that role. But always offer to just solo kick Gola because one, it's easier. You just set a focus on it and you just kick it whenever Revitalize happens. And you can do it every single time because there's more than 20 seconds between each of them. I don't think 24 seconds is enough, so like mages and hunters can't do it, but evokers are at the sweet spot that you can. So, just a quick note, like Dev fucks on two target scenarios. I think that Dev has the second highest two target cleave in the game, besides Destrolog. I mean, maybe Shadow Priest might. Well, Shadow Priest and Alisham have great spread cleave, but close cleave, I think that Dev might be second to Destro Warlock. Our spread cleave is just so good. So fights like the first boss in Waycrest Manor or Everbloom, Devastation just rocks. Like, I don't think that they'll be even close to me for at least the first part of this fight. Also, just fights where you have multiple targets at 100% health, you're just going to really enjoy the benefits from your mastery because you'll be on this guy. Oh, after we kill him, we're on to a target with high 100% health at that point. And then another 100% health target. So we're just kind of getting a big mastery buff as we swap between these targets. So this is a good opportunity to kind of talk through the single target rotation a little bit more. So I'm going to Dragon Rage here, and what I should do is Eternity Surge, then Fire Breath at rank 1. I think I do it in the other order, but I'm still used to the old thing. But you should do what I just said, and essentially I'm just going to be aggressively clipping here. So I'm going to clip, I'm going to clip with Burnout there.
Afflicted.
And I'm basically just going to cast Disintegrate, unless I have something better to cast. So being precise with your clipping is extremely integral to ensuring that you can meet those extra Dragon Rage extensions. So if you have a button like PI or Lust or something like that, you can actually get a bonus extension if you're playing very well. You'll see me get, I think here I actually squeeze in another one of those hidden extensions that are done from quote-unquote perfect clipping. So let's see if I do it. So I disintegrate there. I'm essentially just clipping as soon as I can. I want to get through my essence as quickly as I can while making use of any buffs that I have. Like right now I should be Burnout with Iridescence Red and benefit from there. So the things that you'll clip with are like Fire Breath, Eternity Surge, Burnout, Azure Strike occasionally. Oh no, I don't get that there. That sucks. So Telu's almost dead, so I did a Fire Breath at rank 2, just to assure that,
Afflicted.
I'll have Catalyze
Afflicted.
ticking on it. But, oh, yeah, I think he actually takes over for the kick there, so that's really nice. I didn't play that very well. And yeah, that guy falls. And right now, as you see, I'm just significantly ahead of my other guys because of, my two-target cleave is just so good with Scintillation, proccing the Empowered's cleaving. It's just so powerful. So, along with Shattering Star.
2, 1.
So yeah, I want to just have rank 1 on them outside of, basically in single target, you always just do rank 1. And then in
Afflicted.
Dragon Rage, your second
Afflicted.
Fire Breath will be Tip the Scales Fire Breath. Because the idea is that you're going to be reducing your Empowered so quickly in Dragon Rage that the second Tip the Scales Fire Breath, you'll actually never lose uptime on Fire Breath because it'll just, it adds on to it. It doesn't reset it with the new number. So it'll be like, I think rank 3 is like 12 seconds of Fire Breath. So it'll be like maybe you have already 4 seconds on it remaining, or 4 to 6 to 7, and you might end up with like 20 seconds overall or 25.
2, 1.
So right now, I'm, Gola is the target to kill, but I'm on the Dufu, the tank guy, because I want maximum benefit from a mastery. Well, now that I'm in Dragon Rage, it doesn't matter. I'm really just on Doofu because that's the most amount of damage that I'm going to do. I'm going to cleave. There's not an urgency
Afflicted.
to kill the water guy.
Afflicted.
We're completely safe without... As long as Telu's dead, this fight is super free. So, not very dangerous at all.
3, 2,
But yeah, just going through the motions here. Next one will be... I think I do actually manage to clip it here. Yep, with Tip the Scales, Fire Breath, able to get an extension. And why that extension was so important is that it actually gave me, you know,
Afflicted.
5 seconds more on my Emerald Trance
Afflicted.
4-piece. So I don't know if we'll have enough time, but we might have I might have a few GCDs here that are 25% empowered, which will be awesome. And yeah, I was begging for Fort as well. I think I do. Yep, I got a Pyre off with it. So I wouldn't have got that if I didn't clip it. But if I was more cognizant of it, I could have made, and we were a little bit quicker as a group, I could have actually maybe gotten like 3 GCDs.
1.
So, you know, small stuff, but still a gain overall. So yeah, I mean, at this point, I've kind of gone through a lot of like how to handle these packs and stuff like that. You know, we're really just pyring an AoE, we're spinning our Eternity Surge accordingly, always rank 3ing Fire Breath. We're disintegrating whenever we have a funnel target,
Afflicted.
using Shattering Star as frequently as
Afflicted.
you can, which I'm not doing here. I should. Okay, there we go. So I'll just kind of skip ahead to the Lust Pool maybe.
Afflicted.
So right here, I actually held Dragon Rage for quite a while for the Lust Pool. I think overall this was safer for the key, but you know, anytime you're really holding Dragon Rage for a long extended period,
8,
that is kind of a misplay on just like your group overall, because they're not, you know, you're not making 100% use of your cooldown. So, you know, try your best to use it on CD, but yeah, I mean, we're lusting right here. Gonna Nimways, Tip the Scales, Fire Breath.
2,
I'm just doing that so I can start my rotation. Dev does have a little bit of a
Afflicted.
ramp where you need to like set your empowereds up and then start really going. But Tip the Scales expedites that. I really probably should have done a rank 1 Fire Breath here
8,
because I'm disintegrating the target.
3,
But there's never really a moment where I lost Fire Breath on her, I don't think. So it doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, here, I mean, I think it is, you know, damage gain to Pyre these guys outside of Iridescence Blue or maybe an Essence Spender. But Pyromancer is just so deadly that we need to target it. And again, you know, this is
2,
I I always do a rank 2 or rank 2 Eternity Surge if there's 4 targets or less, just because I feel like it fits so nicely together and it doesn't take that much time to channel at all. So here I narrowly get an extension again. That's awesome. And that was just
Afflicted.
with Disintegrate as well. So
Afflicted.
that was an extension that was only enabled by Lust and PI pretty much. So yeah, we were able to handle that really cleanly, even with the mage kind of really being behind there, unfortunately. It was great. So a quick note on how to handle this boss. So I always Zephyr the first one, and I really shouldn't Obsidian Scales. Obsidian Scales with Zephyrs is a bit overkill. That's like, you know, that's 30% and that's 20%, so 50% DR overall. The healer
Afflicted.
could definitely heal through
Afflicted.
20%. So that was a bit overkill, but she also did Symbol. Here I just let Renewing Blaze help me out. So this is another important scenario where, like, you know, you could just start lobbing uh, Living Flames, because watch how
Afflicted.
quickly it, you know,
Afflicted.
I don't think I click Verdant Embrace. Let's see. But I saw my Scarlet Adaptation just go to 100. Yep, see, 100. And I just sent, you actually saw there, I sent a Burnout proc, which consumed my Scarlet Adaptation, and the next burning, whatever this Renewing Blaze tick put me instantly at 100% again. So, well, I guess not at 100, but yeah, see there, I just actually got very good use out of it. Lots of Lots of empowered renewing living flames there. Sorry. So generally, as an evoker,
Afflicted.
you can do the arcane
Afflicted.
mechanic if you need to, but I think it's better handled by a 40-yard rage person. So you can kind of just play in melee if you want, or mid range, and do whatever your group wants. Honestly, so here this is really dangerous, um, because I don't have any defensives, but luck be the healer set up for it well. And okay, I just trolled. But I had Emerald Blossom and Verdant Embrace to get me through it. No worries.
Afflicted. Afflicted.
So we're at low health now, and Dragon Rage came up, so it was perfect timing. Around like 50 to 40%. Dragon Rage really, like that's the ideal time to use Dragon Rage. So, um, yeah, I mean we're just gonna assume our single target rotation. We're gonna clip when we need to, precise clipping. So I should clip with Eternity Surge right here. Fire Breath, Burnout, Disintegrate, Disintegrate, and I should clip this. Burnout, yep. And then I should burn out right here. Ah, that was an L. I should have burnout. I should have consumed my burnout proc right there to get an essence burst at the end. Right now I could have two essence bursts and I fumbled the bag. So yeah. So right here I have this little tracker right here for Emerald Trance, and these ticks are the essence burst that it gives you. This is kind of a botched Dragon Rage right here. I wouldn't say it's a great one. So, but uh, during this phase, you have a high chance of being overflowed with Essence Burst. So you need to ensure that even in this phase, you're clipping as much as you can, because ideally you want to be regenerating Essence while getting Essence Burst. That's your ideal. And if you're just sitting there like chaining your disintegrates or not clipping aggressively enough right here, you're just going to be overcapped on essence, and you're going to also be overcapped on essence burst. And at that point, you're just wasting so much essence, like an insane amount, that, it's just a huge DPS loss. So it's very important you get that the four-piece phase down correctly with managing your essence properly.
Afflicted. Afflicted.
The thing that new Devastation Evokers don't really understand is clipping is a DPS gain and overall, but it's way more of a tool of essence management than anything. And managing your essence ultimately results in a very high DPS gain. Not clipping itself, but managing your essence. And that's the distinction that I think a lot of devs fail to make. That was really cool. But yeah, just gonna skip past that. So I think this is just the final fight. I think I die here, honestly. But you can see how much damage I do here, man. Oh my gosh. Like, I just pull way ahead of these guys. I think I'm at like 700k or something. So I'm just gonna be right there. I'm just clipping. I probably should just let Disintegrate
Afflicted.
run out, but
Afflicted.
I don't care. I just want to clip harder. So, yep, Disintegrate, clipping, tip the scales, Fire Breath, and then I hold Eternity Surge. I should have held both my empowereds if my Dragon Rage would have allowed me to, for the Ancient, and just unloaded on it. This is another fight that Dev is pretty good at. Zephyr has a lot of stonks, so does Renewing Blaze, and the target spawning with your Mastery
Afflicted.
also works pretty well. You
Afflicted.
have great target swap, provided you can get Fire Breath on the target. Because disintegrating without catalyze feels really bad. So there I wasted a few Iridescence red procs. I should have burned out. I'm just sitting at 2 stacks like an idiot. So, but I'm really just trying to blow through my essence. Because of all the movement that was going on and things like that, I just mismanaged my essence there, and I think I probably wasted a burst or two. Or not a burst or two, but an essence or two. But if you look at the damage meter right now, right, like we all entered in with our cooldowns, and I'm just way ahead of these guys. And it's provided that's because of of how many opportunities we have to hit a target at 100% health. But Mastery is a lot weaker than it used to be, so we're just gaming here.
Afflicted.
So I don't really think there's much else to talk about in here besides, oh, I died. Besides, use your defensives accordingly and the single target rotation. But yeah, I mean, I hope that, watching this video, you learned a lot. Devastation is a deceivingly complicated spec, I guess. It's not as complicated as the likes of, Enhanced Shaman or maybe Arcane Mage or something like that, but it definitely does have its own skill cap, utilizing all of its abilities properly, ensuring you get the max amount of extensions, managing your essence, and also balancing the 25-yard range, which isn't a big deal in Mythic Plus, but in Raid, it's a big hindrance at times. So, but yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. Just put them in the comments. I've been very active responding to them. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.